Would you please share with us the origin of this concept? How did Big Chicken get started? Shaq's involvement, how this whole thing came to be?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, the stories about Shaquille O'Neal that you sometimes hear, they don't even do the guy justice. He's one of the best people you've ever met. His authenticity is off the charts. Everything he's ever endorsed, there is a really incredible story behind why he chose to endorse it. And, in 2017 and early 2018, his agent is a co-owner in a restaurant group in Vegas, and he looked at his agent and basically said, why have you never done anything with me? Harry Rogers, his agent, said, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, you know how important fried chicken is to me because, when they were kids, Shaquille didn't have a lot of money, military family. We let our military families live right on top of the safety net, right? They don't really fall through, but they're not right. And Mama Lucille would go and buy whole chickens at the beginning of the month because the commissary would discount them. And one night would be the breast, the next night the thighs, the next night the drums, and she'd whip up a couple sides. And they'd sit around the table and they'd eat her fried chicken or her barbecue chicken and the sides that she made, and they'd laugh as a family and play as a family, etc. And for Shaquille, that was his childhood. So when all the chicken companies called and said, hey, man, you're on air doing barbecue chicken alert, come be our spokesperson. Shaquille's like, that would sort of be cheating on Mama Lucille. Can't do it. Got to build my own. And Big Chicken was born.
I can only imagine how long has this sort of been a dream of his. If you think about the process of all the businesses that Shaq has been involved with, he's very well known as being an extremely successful businessman for many, many years, not just a phenomenal Hall of Fame NBA player, but he's known throughout the world, of course. How long has this been going around in Shaq's mind to have this concept?
Yeah, I don't know if doing a fried chicken concept was in his mind longer than 2017 or not. I think he definitely reached a place in his career where he started saying, all right, like, what's the legacy I want to leave that will kind of outlive me? And he started thinking about what ventures could be that legacy. And then the fried chicken concept came up. And, I had known Shaquille and Perry and the rest of the gang for a bunch of years from my time at Anheuser-Busch. And they invited me to come be the CEO in 2021. And I've been with them over 3 years now.
Sweet. So Josh, what makes Big Chicken unique compared to so many other chicken places in the industry?
Well, we're open on Sunday for one. So that's a big comparison.
We are right
that's a big comparison versus the big guy there, right?
You have fired one over the bow right out of the gate here.
No.
I'm only kidding.
I mean, that I could guarantee you, right? We beat Chick-fil-A at least once a week.
Nice.
But the really is this concept is rooted in big flavor, big fun, big food, right? It's geared to do things that you haven't necessarily seen before, right? So we have a chicken sandwich that has macaroni and cheese and onion straws on top of the chicken sandwich. You're not getting that at the other guys. And then because so many people want to partner with Shaquille and do really cool things with Shaquille, his podcast with Jason Kelsey right before Super Bowl was inside a Big Chicken restaurant, and they're sitting there dipping, crinkle cut fries in a Hellman's mayo of all things, laughing along as they're there. We partnered with Blue Origin to put the first ever franchise in outer space in the next 100 years. And you in our restaurant were actually able to come in if you were a kid and literally draw on a postcard of what a restaurant in outer space could look like. And those postcards are going to outer space. And we'll come back to the kid return from space. So this notion of how do we take really good food and combine it with really big fun in a way that just doesn't exist in other places is sort of what we're going for.
Yeah. So if I understand it right, we have 42 franchise locations. That includes even places like stadiums, casinos, airports. How many of the locations are in more of the traditional franchise concept, looking like something like in your background?
Yeah, it's about half and half, and the number will actually start to skew more towards brick and mortar restaurants by the end of the year. We're really fortunate. One of our partners, Oakview Group, they brought us into a lot of arenas. The city of Kansas City invited us to come put Big Chicken in Kansas City Airport. Shaquille and I were actually there with the mayor of Kansas City for the opening, which was super fun. We're in a casino in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, just down the block from LSU, where Shaquille played basketball. So, we're growing in sort of a non-traditional way, but you wouldn't expect anything less, I think, from a business owned by Shaq.
So I'm thinking about my audience here, and while I have a mix of folks that are involved in franchising their concept, emerging founders, I also have a lot of people who are looking to buy a franchise. And of course, I know there's probably people hearing, oh my gosh, there's a business that Shaq is involved with. They could smell the success and probably wanted to be involved. But I would love for you to kind of share early on here in this interview, who is your ideal franchise owner? Are we talking multi-unit, sophisticated franchise owners, or mom and pops that could buy single units? What does the concept look like in terms of who you're trying to attract?
Yeah, no, we like multi-unit, multi-concept operators who are in their business every day, right? We don't want the guys that are like, hey, we've got a restaurant ops director for this city, and we don't really go into our restaurants. We want people that are maniacally focused and are as big of fans of Big Chicken as we are, mainly because of this notion. And Shaquille talks about it one way, I talk about it another, but it gets us to the same place. I believe that in any franchise system, there need to be 4 wins every single day, right? Mm-hmm. Your guest needs to win every day. Otherwise, what are we doing, right? They need great food, great service. Franchisee needs to win every single day. They need clear, transparent communication. They need a franchisor who has maniacal focus on their unit level economics. And that's our business objective, maniacal focus. We use the word maniacal deliberately, a maniacal focus on their unit level economics. Suppliers need to win too, right? Mm-hmm. They need to be able to showcase their innovation. They need to be able to have good forecasts. They need to be able to have good communication with both the corporate level and the store level, and the franchisor needs to win. And if we could do those 4 things together, we're in really good shape. We find that we could be most successful driving those 4 wins concurrently when it's multi-unit people who have been there before, preferably with experience with some emerging concepts, but folks that are in the business and can tell you exactly what's going on in their business every day.
Yeah. All right. So we're looking for a more sophisticated franchise owner, somebody with that experience. And one thing we need to point out is that Shaquille O'Neal knows a lot about franchising. The man has been a franchisee of over 30 QSR restaurants, and that's
his total's 155 locations of the various things that he's done, whether that be Papa John's, Krispy Kreme, Five Guys, car washes, gyms. The dude loves franchising. In fact, Shaquille keynoted the IFA conference in San Diego. I believe that was 2022. Mm-hmm. It was a rough day for me. He told the entire audience of thousands of people that they should look me up on LinkedIn and reach out to me to help Big Chicken take a step forward. But he's that passionate about franchising, and for him, part of that legacy needed to be, how could he be a great franchisor, and how could he create opportunity for franchisees?
That is the brilliance of this brand, because the man's been on the other side.
Oh, no, and he kicks my butt on it every day, right? Tells me all the time, if we're hurting franchisees, we're hurting him. And, that's a really large responsibility to live up to.
Yeah. Well, the man has an incredible brand image, and he has worked on himself and has worked on every part of, every business he's been in, that he's so well respected that I could understand why there's so many people clamoring to open a Big Chicken franchise.
Yeah. I mean, we are pretty selective. We've literally brought into our business less than 1% of the applications that we've got.
I bet.
And it's because not only do you have to have the right business experience, but you need to be able to do things the Shaquille way, and you need to be able to have fun and manage teams with high engagement, and truly be excited and love what you do, right? We're all reflections of this vision of his, and that's pretty awesome responsibility when you think about it.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.